You're walking home when you suddenly hear it. The street goes dead quiet, replaced by a low, rhythmic pulse traveling up through your shoes and straight into your chest. Then a massive steamroller crawls into view, flattening everything in its path. You probably think it's crushing the road with pure, absurd weight. Makes total sense. But it's completely wrong. If raw weight isn't the secret, what is? Why shake a road instead of just pressing it down? Stay with this. That pulse in your chest is about to mean something completely different. And the hidden truth inside that steel drum has almost nothing to do with being heavy. What does compaction actually mean? Start with what road building actually requires. Soil, gravel, and asphalt don't arrive on a job site as solid material. They arrive full of voids, microscopic air pockets wedged between every particle. The way dry rice poured into a jar leaves space between every grain before you tap the jar on a table. That space is the problem. A road sitting on material riddled with voids will settle unevenly, flex under load, and eventually crack from below. The job of a road roller isn't to mash things flatter. It's to collapse those internal voids so the particles press against each other, interlock, and form a load-bearing matrix that doesn't shift when tens of thousands of pounds roll over it every day. And here's where the first assumption dies. A heavy object rolling slowly over loose granular material mostly displaces the particles sideways. They move out from under the load and drift back. You haven't compacted anything. You've just shuffled it. Getting particles to move toward each other and hold together permanently takes a different kind of force entirely. It takes rhythm applied at the right frequency, over and over, faster than the material can recover between blows. That takes vibration, not weight. What is the roller actually designed to do? And the machine is designed to fool you. A standard road roller weighs somewhere between 16,000 and 24,000 pounds. About the same as 6 or 7 full-size pickup trucks stacked onto a single steel cylinder. When something that heavy rolls toward you, your brain settles the question immediately. The weight is doing the work, and nothing on the outside argues back. No spinning blades, no visible mechanism, just a giant steel drum, slow and steady, giving nothing away. The shaking under your feet feels like exactly what you'd expect from something that massive. Except the ground was already flat before it got there. That vibration isn't a side effect. It's the whole point. The drum, the engine, the frame, all of it exists just to deliver what's happening inside. Here's what's actually inside, and almost nobody knows this part. Down the center of the drum runs a steel shaft, spun by a motor powered by pressurized oil. But a shaft just spinning does nothing useful on its own. The real trick is a heavy weight bolted onto that shaft, not at the center but off to one side, slightly out of balance on purpose. When the shaft spins, that off-center weight swings around with it, and every single rotation, it throws a burst of force downward, straight into the drum, straight into the ground, dozens of times per second. The particles don't get pressed, they get hammered, faster than they can bounce back, until the gaps close and everything locks together. That one lopsided weight is the entire secret. A deliberate imbalance, spinning on purpose, doing all the real work. So now you know what's actually inside that drum. But a machine generating that much internal force should tear itself apart within hours. What's stopping it? And where did this principle even come from? That's exactly where this is going. How does the machine survive its own force? Think about what's happening inside that drum. A typical road roller hammers the ground somewhere between 1,500 and 3,000 times per minute. To put that in perspective, a hummingbird beats its wings around 50 times per second, and scientists consider that one of the fastest repeated motions in the animal world. The eccentric mass inside a road roller spins at that same speed, every second, while the whole machine keeps moving forward to cover fresh ground. The amount of force delivered into the road in a single pass is far beyond anything a heavy object just sitting there could ever produce. Which immediately raises the next question. If the drum is hitting the ground 3,000 times a minute, why doesn't the machine shake itself apart? That kind of non-stop vibration running through a steel frame would loosen every bolt, crack every weld, and blow out every connection in a single day? The answer is rubber, not rubber you'd notice, rubber placed deliberately in the energy path. Between the vibrating drum and the rest of the machine sit thick rubber isolation blocks, engineered specifically to catch the vibration before it can travel into the frame, the cab, or the operator. The drum shakes violently. Everything attached to it barely moves. Think of a washing machine on spin cycle, bolted directly to the floor. Every rotation shakes the whole room. Set it on thick foam pads and the same motor runs just as hard, but the shaking stays local. Road roller engineers applied that exact idea. Let the drum do its job, stop the vibration right there, protect everything else. And the operator has full control over how the drum behaves. From the cab, they can adjust the frequency, how many times per second the weight spins, and the amplitude, which is how far off-center the weight sits. Faster frequency with smaller offset means lighter, quicker taps. Perfect for finishing the top layer of asphalt without cracking what's already been laid. Slower frequency with a bigger offset means deep, heavy thuds that drive force several feet down into the base layers below. Two completely different settings, switched in seconds, no tools needed. What are the different types of rollers? Not every roller on a job site works the same way, and the differences matter more than they look from the sidewalk. A static roller uses pure dead weight with no vibration at all. It's built for the final pass on hot asphalt, where the goal is smoothing the surface, not compacting what's underneath. Run a vibrating drum on that same pass and you crack everything you just laid down. Then there's the pneumatic tire roller, which swaps the steel drum for a row of rubber tires. The tires flex slightly with each pass, kneading the material rather than hammering it. Far better for certain soils where a rigid steel drum would do more damage than good. Same job site, completely different tools, completely different physics. How did this technology begin? But none of this existed for most of history. The first road rollers appeared in the 1860s, basically farm engines with a steel cylinder bolted on front. They weighed up to 30,000 pounds and crews still needed 8 to 12 passes to compact what a modern roller finishes in 2 or 3. No vibration, no settings, just weight and time. And here's the part that sounds unbelievable. The eccentric mass principle wasn't invented for roads at all. In 1930s Germany, engineers built a small handheld tool to shake air bubbles out of freshly poured concrete. It worked so well, the idea spread across Europe through the 1940s, but nobody thought to scale it up for road building until the 1950s. Every road built before 1955 was compacted by dead weight alone. You still drive on some of them today. What have your tires been telling you? Now here's where it gets personal. Everything you just learned about compaction, you've actually been feeling it your entire life. You just didn't have a name for it. That manhole cover bump you hit on the same street every single morning? That's a compaction gap, a spot the roller couldn't quite reach. Over time, every heavy truck and every winter freeze makes that soft spot a little worse. You've been feeling that same gap in that same spot for years. Those alligator cracks spreading across old asphalt like a dried lake bed? They didn't start at the surface. They started deep in the base layer, where compaction was uneven decades ago. The damage slowly worked its way up through the layers, year by year, until it finally broke through to where you can see it. That crack was invisible on the day the road was built. And that parking lot you glide through without hitting a single bump? A vibratory roller made 4 to 8 passes across that gravel base before a single drop of asphalt was poured. The smoothness didn't come from the asphalt. It was built 6 inches underground before the asphalt even existed. You've been reading compaction quality through your tires your whole life. Every bump, every sound, every shimmy, all of it came from that one off-center weight, spinning inside a drum you always assumed was just really, really heavy. If there's something you walk past every day and wonder about, drop it in the comments. We read every single one, and the best suggestions make it into future videos. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss what's coming next.